Question number 21, select all relations that are a function. So what basically a function is? Function is which provides the relation between a set of input to the possible output. Let me tell you with an example. Let's take a function which is represented in xy plane. So let's take x-axis and y-axis. There is a one function called f of x which has been represented like this. Let's take this is an f of x is a function. So what I can see here is, let's take the value of x as 1, value of 2, 3 and -1, -2 and so on. The value of y here as, let me take it as 2, 4. I'm just taking for the understanding purpose, okay? So now what I'm saying, what I'm seeing here is, so when you, what is the output of your function when the input is 1? So just take the line over here where it is touches approximately here, correspondingly what is the value of y. So I can say when the input is 1, f of 1, output of your function is going to be 2. How it is mathematically written? And what is the output for your function when it is, when the input is -1? So look at here, when x is -1, output is again it is 2. I can also say f of -1 is also 2. So with this one, what I can conclude, a function is something which can have a same output for the different inputs. Either I can say I must get a one output for one input, or I must get a same output for the different inputs. This is a function. Though I can say now f of x is a function. I can say f of x is a function. Then how do I say which is not a function then? So let's take in another way. So if I say, let's take example, if the graph is represented in this way, in something other way like this. So what happening, this is again my y-axis, that is the output. This is x-axis which is representing the input. And if I'm representing this graph is something called g of x. So let me take x is -1, x is 1, x is 2, x is 3 and so on. Y is 1, y is -1 and so on. I'm just giving the scale, the numbering on the xy plane. Now what is the output of your function when input is 1? So look at here, output of your function when input is 1 is, output of your function when input is 1 is 1. I can say in this case I can say g of 1 is also 1 is giving me the result as 1 again, but I have the same input but I have another output. What it is, g of 1 is also equal to approximately, g of 1 is also equal to output as -1. So what happening here, for the same input I am getting two different output. That means g of x is not a function. So as I told, for the multiple inputs you may have same output, but for the same input you should not have multiple outputs. If you are having multiple outputs, then it is not a function. So I can say, because for the same input value we are getting the two different outputs. So that's what I can say now, g of x is not a function. Question is not necessary that it will be showing in this way only, but if you understand the basic definition of function, I'm sure you are not gonna commit any error with any of the type of question what they're gonna ask you. Okay, so these are the different options they have given to us. Which of the following, select all the relations that are a function. As I told, functions relations can also be written in this way. So like, like whenever you are representing in a bracket, so remember, this is first always talks about the input and the comma, with the second one talks about the output. So that is, input I can take it as x and output I can take it as f of x. So that is how we can relate it. So in terms of f of x, we know that f of x can also be said to be y. This can also be written as x comma y. So this is an example of the option A has been given in this way. So identify whether it is function or not. Check it out the inputs. I have input as 9, output is 5. Fine, because this input and the output they are different. I mean to say, for the 9 I have 5 output. I have input as 2, output is 5. Input 5, output 5. Input 0, output is 5. It means to say, as I told, for the different inputs you may have one or multiple outputs. It means this, I have a different inputs like 9, 2, 5, 0, but I'm getting the same output. Yes, this is a function. So I can scale in terms of graph. I can write it here is like 0. I can write it as 2 5 9, and my output here is gonna be 5. So this can be related like this: out input is 0, output is 5, input is 2, output is 5, input is 5, output is 5, input is 9, output is 5. Yes, this is a function because it is giving me output for the different inputs. That's function. So a is a function. And what about the option b? The domain and the range. In a mathematical term, domains are basically input and range are output, right? So that's we again we are relating the input and output, and I told you simple: for the one input you must have only one output, but for the different inputs you may have a same output. So that is the condition. So now look at here: 8 output, input is 8 and output is f, input is 7, output is b. It means to say, look at here, for the inputs you have either one or multiples output. So when input is 7, output is b. When input is -3, output is w. When input is 6, output is b, because we have the output as b for the different inputs. 7 and 6 giving you output as b, -3 and -8 giving you output as a w. So it means for the different inputs we may have a same output. That is, b is also a function. Option b is also a function. But look at how about the option C. Same input, I have 2 as output. So same input, I have 2 as output. Again, 3 input, I have 3 as a output. A 3 input, I have -4 as output. 3 input, I have -1 as output. So what happening here? For the single input, you are getting multiple outputs. If for the single input, multiple output, it is not a function. So if I'm representing the, in terms of a diagram here, so this is what happening. If you am representing in the diagram here, this is what is happening. So I can write it as same input 3, I am getting it as -4, -1, 2 and 3. For the same input, I'm getting like the 4 different outputs, and that is not possible. So remember, if you are getting from the one point, if something like from the same point, if it is the line is going to the two or more different, just say not a function in terms of graph. But if if a line is meeting from the different points, I'm just talking in terms of from the different inputs, if it is meeting at the one function, I can say this is a function. Just for your understanding purpose, I'm telling you. So this is the function. So c is not a function. Now let's check about the d. What happening here for the d? See, what happening with the option D here? 2, when the input is 2, output it's gonna be -8. And what else? Now look at what happening. When the input is 5, output it's gonna be 5. Till here, that is no problem. And what happening here? For the same input. So what is actually happening here? So last part is taking you. So when input is 8, output is talking about the -5 also, and output is also a +5. So same input 8, I'm getting the two different outputs. One is -5 and another one is +5. That's why this is also not a function. So correct answer to the question number 21 is A and B. These two represents a function. Let's go to the next question. Okay, so question number 22, solve. It's an algebra based on a quadratic equation. Y squared minus 3y equals to 9. Okay, so we know that when we solve a quadratic equations, as it is a calculator based exam, so you can make use of calculator and you can simply solve by using the calculator. So before solving it, you have to convert into a standard form. So what is the standard form of a quadratic equation? Ax square plus bx plus c equal to 0. But you might be thinking here, but nothing x is there, so it is in terms of y. It's not necessary. It is always to be in terms of x. It may be in terms of y, it may be in terms of m, j, whatever it is, because this is just a variable. I just need to check out the format. So the the standard format. So if you are converting that into like a standard, it means this value has to be this side and the something will be equal to 0. Then your equation becomes y square minus 3y minus 9 equal to 0. This is what we got, a quadratic equation, right? So now, as I told, it's a calculator question. If you, after just making that equation in this way and follow a rule in your calculator, that is, mode 5, press first on the mode button on your scientific calculator, then press on the button 5, so that we can say 5. 5 stands for the selecting the equations, and after selecting the equations you have to press on the button 3 again. The button 3 here stands for the quadratic equation, so you have to select quadratic equation. So once you press this 3, they'll ask you what is the value of a1 or a, they say what is the value of, they will ask you what is the value of b1, or they will ask you what is the value of c1 or c. A, if you compare the equation with the standard equation with the what we have got here, so what you can say, what is the value of a, this equation in terms of y, this can be written as, like, if you are getting confused, ay square plus by plus c equals to 0, isn't it? Because x y are just variable, we can represent in that way. So now look at here, compare this one with what they have given to us. What is the number along with x square? Here along with x square, here is a, but with, sorry, number along with y square, along with y square, here it is a, but along with y square nothing is written, means 1 is there, so I can say the value of a here it's gonna be 1. Here along with y, that is what we say the coefficient of y, coefficient of y here is b, and coefficient of y here is negative 3, so I can say b is equal to negative 3. And constant term c, the value of c here it's c, and here number it's going to be negative 9, c can be written as negative 9. So these are the values you just need to represent as, this is, I can say, a1 b1 c1, or it's just, they may ask you what is the value of a b or c, it's just a matter of a calculator showing and inserting those values. Okay, now once you put this in your calculator, definitely you're gonna get one of the option which has been given, but I'll tell you, this is, I can solve it as by using the another way, but what we say by using the quadratic formula. So what the quadratic formula we have, so we have a quadratic formula says x equals to minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac by 2a. This is the quadratic formula. So what I need to do in this, I just need to simply insert the values of a, b, c which we have written and simplify. So minus sign is already there, value of b is going to be minus 3 plus or minus square root of b square minus 3 square minus 4 times a, value is 1, and c value is negative 9. So this entire bracket is here, over 2 value times value of a here is going to be 1. So just simplify it for the negative of negative, get positive 3 plus or minus square root of 3 square is 9, negative 4 times 1 negative 4, negative 4 times negative 9 positive 36 over 2, isn't it? So now how you further simplify this, 3 plus or minus square root of 36 plus 9, that is written as 45, entire thing divided by 2. So now 45 is not a perfect square number, so but I can write it as 45 can be written as 3 times, sorry, 9 times 5, right? So 45, so this further can be written as 3 plus or minus square root of 45 can be written as 9 times 5. So why I am writing it in this way, because 9 is a perfect square number, so I can take it out 9 as an out, so that like something is left in the bracket. So whenever you simplify a radical or the root expression, try to take them out as which are the perfect square numbers are involved in that, try to take them out of that root. Okay, that's what we are following here. So by 2, so 9 is a perfect square, so that's what I can this one, it can be written as 3 plus or minus this, when the 9 comes to the outside, then it becomes 3 and root 5 will remains as it is by 2. So 3 plus or minus 3 root 5 by 2. So which is option representing this? This itself is your answer. 3 plus or minus 3 root 5 by 2. That's representing the option A, isn't it? So that's representing the option A, 3 plus or minus 3 root 5 by 2. Then A is the answer to the question here. Okay, let's go to the next question. Okay, question number 23. It's talking about a probability. All right. Ahmad and Hamad plays a tennis each week. The probability that Ahmad wins the first match against the Hamad is 2/3. Okay, so I can say the probability of winning, if I'm representing the probability of P as the probability of winning, and wins against the Hamas in the first match is 2 over third. Probability of winning is going to be 2 over third. When I'm saying probability of winning, so okay, let's go one by one and we'll discuss. Now, question is, what is the probability that Ahmad wins exactly 3 of the next 4 matches against Hamad? Okay, this is a conditional probability which involves a combination. Why we are saying the combination? Because this part is providing a combination because he has to win exactly 3 matches out of 4. So this is what I have to represent. Okay, so while finding the probability of this condition combinational which involves, or I can say the conditional probability, we need to follow a one basic formula for this. What is the formula? Says probability P is equals to combination. So total, like we need to win like 3 matches out of 4. This can be written as the total number of matches to be played, and the denominator here it will be written as the number of matches to be win times the probability of win. So if I'm saying in our case P of W, I can say probability of win, that is I can write as P of W to the power probability of win. How many matches we need to win? We need to win 3 matches to the power 3 times probability of lose. Or if I'm saying probability of win is 2/3, then the probability of losing that match is going to be how much? So we know that probability of win plus probability of lose must be equal to 1. So that is like the probability of certain event happening plus not happen is equals to 1. So if I know the probability of win, I can find the probability of lose. I'm just writing for your understanding purpose L as P of L as probability of lose. So that can be written as 1 minus 2 by 3. I can arrange it in, right? So that 1 minus 2 by 3, what it gives you? What it gives? 1 by 3. So I can write it here as probability of that is lose times probability of L to the power total number of matches we need to play as 4 minus the number of matches what we need to win here is 3. So this is the simple basic formula what we require. Okay, so I can just write that formula. So we write it here as probability is equals to C. I can write it here as N K P to the power N times I can write it here as P of W times P of L to the power P of W. So rather than writing it in this way, I can just write it in the, this formula. I'm just writing the formula over here. So formula says probability of something, it's gonna be combination of number of matches you are playing as N, K number of matches you are winning times probability of winning to the power the number of matches which you gonna play, that is K, times probability of lose to the power times multiplication here times probability of lose to the power total number of matches you need to play, that is N minus the number of matches that is you need to win. So K. This is the formula. That's what the conditional formula says. So where N is representing the total number of matches to be played and K is representing the number of matches to be win. P of W is representing the probability of win and P of L is representing a probability of lose. Just simplify here. And what's that? This is, as it's a calculator section, you can make use of a calculator, and you do have a scientific calculator do have an option of solving the combination. So here we are saying it is like 4C3. So what in general a combination says, so if I'm writing for example for N K. It means total number of matches played is N and the winning is basically K. Or the out of total number N, K times of event are happening at a time. That is what we say the combination. This can be written as N factorial over N minus K factorial times K factorial. And what is the factorial? Factorial is something which you can, multiply by the same multiply by the number reducing by 1 till it goes to the last. So I think I have explained in my previous videos. Please refer what the factorial is. So if I'm writing for example, or let me just say, if I'm writing for example, if I'm saying n factorial, it means first I'll be multiplying n times n minus 1 times till I'll be going till I get the last term as one. Example, 5 factorial can be written as 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, like that, and multiply all the, don't make it 0. If you are making it 0, everything is going to be 0. After that, what result you going to get? So in this case, 20, 20 times 60, 60 times to 120. So 5 factorial value is 120. Like this. This is how you simplify. So how do we can simplify the question which has been given here? 4 4c3 p to the power 1. So I can say, let me simplify it one by one. So what is the value of, what is the value we are getting for 4 4c3? So 4c3 value, it's gonna be 4 factorial over 4 minus 3 factorial. So this is 3, okay, 4 minus 3 factorial times 3 factorial. So this is further written as 4 factorial. 4 factorial can be written as 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, and 4 minus 3 factorial. 4 minus 3 is 1 factorial. 1 factorial is 1 itself, times 3 factorial can be written as 3 times 2 times 1. Now simplify them. 3 and 3 get cancelled because they are in the numerator and the denominator. 2 2 and get cancelled out, so 1. Okay, that's any number multiplied divided by 1 is the number itself, so nothing to worry. The value of 4c3, that gives you 4. So substitute over here. So what's the answer we're gonna get now? This is 4 times probability of win. We know that the probability of winning is going to be 2 by third to the its power 3, and the probability of lose is going to be 1 by 3 its power 4 minus 3 is 1. So simplify it further, what we going to get? 4 times 2 cube, it's going to be 8 over 27 times 1 by 3. So that gives you 4 times 8. 8 times 4 is going to be 32 to the power 27 times 3, it's going to be 81. So that is the probability to satisfy this condition, that is the winning 3 match exactly of total 4, with the condition probability of 2/3, that gives you 32 by 81. That is option A is the right answer to this question. So it seems to be quite longer, but as I'm explaining, that's the reason it takes the longer time. I can solve it like just by substituting and all, then you won't be understanding it. It's just like for the understanding purpose, I'm taking many examples and I'm going in a very detailed way. So as I told, it's a calculator question. You can just insert this, if you know how to work with the combinations in a calculator, you can do, just press the select the option combination 4 a comma 3, you can insert, you're gonna get the answer. Or if you not, you can do it in this. After just writing in this way, you can put a calculator and you can make use of it. All right, okay, let's go to the next question. Question number 24 is, select all values for which m in the following expression is defined. So here look at, m in the following expression is defined, it means m is also at the denominator. So I have to select the values of m which is defined, but in that case you'd also need to know for what are the values of m the given expression is not defined. You know the basic rule which I have already explained: any number divided by 0 is an undefined condition, or I can say that expression is undefined. For example, if I have 2 divided by 0, that gives you, like, that is an undefined. I can't do like any number by 0. Your calculator may show as error or math error. It means it is not possible to have a value for the expression. Your denominator should not be equal to 0. Now here, what are the values? M can have all the values except equals to 3. Why I'm saying m cannot have equals to 3? M should not take the value here as 3. So why I'm saying if we put the value of m as 3 here, so 3 minus 3, it becomes 0. It means the denominator is getting 0. So if denominator is getting 0, it is undefined. So the question is about choose the values of m which is defined. It means m can take any values, any real values except m is equals to 3. So then I can say m can go with negative 3, m can go with 0, m can go with 1 also, but m cannot take the value as 3. Means answer to this question is you can say A, B and C. All of these three are answer, but D is not, because D is making a denominator to be undefined. Right? So that's how do we solve. Question number 25. Question number 25 is write an expression below in a simplest form. They are very clever. So they are telling you to write an expression below in the simplest form. So we know that even though it's a calculator section, student might try to use the calculator directly without further modifying it, but it definitely gonna show error. Because why? Square root of negative number, again it is undefined, we say, or error or math error. That's the rule says. Now, how do I simplify this one? Then square root of negative 300, it can be further written as square root of 300 times square root of negative 1, because whenever you are multiplying, let me tell you why we are writing square root of a times square root of b. Whenever there is a multiplication with the same root, you can put them together, a times b, you can write it. Okay, so that's why I can split this in this way, square root of 300 times square root of negative 1. And we know that square root of negative 1 is an imaginary term, and we indicate that one with the term I. Right, so that's why I can write it. So how do you further simplify this 300? 300 can be written as 100 times 3, and this root of negative 1 I can simply represent with I, because it's an imaginary term. How that's further? Square root of 100, square root of 100 is 10, isn't it? If you take, and this can, as I told, this can be further written as square root of 100 times square root of 3 times I. As I told, 100 times 3, according to this one I can write it, this one can be written in the reverse way, vice versa, and the square root of 100 is 10 and times is root 3 I. So this is equivalent to 10 root 3I, and that is option A, right? Okay, that's how do you solve. Okay, so that's it for today's session. In the next video, I'll be solving question number 26 to 30. So please stay connected, share this video if it seems to be helpful, so that it can reach to the people or the students who are looking for preparing the EmSAT exam, right? Thank you so much.